It's National Women's Day, and I said, Jaymee, you're going to run the broadcast, and I'm going to see what happens. And
I forgot to turn the sound on.
I forgot to push the one button. You got to
Darn it.
turn for sound. Now I see the sounds going do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So my apologies. So basically what you may have missed in the first 10 seconds is me congratulating Jaymee on National Women's Day. To recap, it's also National Nasty Day. We'll get to that later on in the show. We welcome you inside the show. It's Hump Day. Hump Day! I don't know if they missed anything else. Did they
I don't
miss
think
anything?
so.
Okay, so
No, that's it.
You're caught up for the first minute and a half of the show that you missed that was without sound. You just saw us going like that's basically all you missed. So that's all it is. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Let's see. Oh, wow, everybody's jumping in already here. Simon says, yeah, well, we can hear you now. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Hi, Brew. Hi, Craig. Hi, Dan. Hi, Liz. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Simon. I feel like what is it? Was it the Partridge Family that would be like, good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Tomboy. Good night.
Another show I've never seen.
I probably wasn't the Partridge Family. I don't remember what it is. Greg can hear us now, too. Okay, we figured it out. Apologies. Like I said, that one button sometimes that needs to be pressed. But
My fault.
It's all good. It happens to the best of us.
Screwing up Women's Day already.
Wow. See, this is what happens.
I should have taken the day off.
Should have taken the day off, Jaymee. We'd have been better without you. No, that's not true. I would have probably cried, being like, I don't know what to do with myself all by my lonesome. Probably would have cried for an hour. All right, what's brewing today, Jaymee? There's some hot things, some awkward things.
Yeah.
Do you want to go awkward? Do you want to go exciting? Which direction do you want to take the show right off the bat?
Let's go awkward.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Awkward right off the bat. Now, when you say awkward, what style of awkward? There's really only one, because, I think our categories are awkward, awesome, and exciting. So we'll start with awkward. That's the route we want to go?
I like awkward.
Okay.
This is real awkward.
This is like hashtag soups dupes awkward, basically. If you haven't heard, Russell Wilson, not Russell Westbrook, I got to get back into the football mode. Russell Wilson and his wife, Sierra, posted a picture a couple of days ago, I believe, one of their maternity pictures. Usually maternity pictures, super cute. Sierra's probably 6 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant at this point. I don't know. Everybody's body does things differently when it comes to it. The internet is very divided about this picture. Take a look at it. Let it all soak in. It's not X-rated, as though your first thoughts might be like, dear God. Like, no, it's totally fine. It is safe for work. It's people. You can look at it. Just there's a lot going on in this picture.
Really look at it, because it's
there's a
weird.
lot going on. Like it almost looks like a painting, or like one of those
awkward statues from.
Yeah, it's like the hands, and then the baby and the mother, and like there's a baby inside, and the father has his hands on the baby.
But where's the father? He's headless. You can't even see
exactly.
him.
It's like, this is strange. Like, is this some supernatural power, like holding around the baby? Like, it's a really awkward but interesting picture. The world as a whole, sports or not, are completely divided on this, because people don't know what to make of a picture like this, honestly. What do you think of it when you see something like that?
Maybe it's because I'm not a mom or a wife, but it's weird. But I also I feel like it's cool to have weird pregnancy, maternity pictures taken. Like I said earlier today, before we went on the air, like Beyonce had a weird, not this weird.
Well, she was like on a throne and doing some weird stuff.
Yeah, and with her like flowers and her crown and her. It was weird.
Hey, if you're Beyonce, if you're the queen of the world, you do what you want.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, I still think
People call
it's weird,
you
though.
Queen Bee. You sit on a throne.
True.
People better damn well
Still
bow
weird.
to you.
Still weird. This is awkward.
I
just
agree.
don't understand why. I guess if his head was like popping out, that'd be super awkward too. But it's just, does he need to be right there?
I don't necessarily think he does,
By
honestly.
her butt.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's his head? What's going on? Yeah. Like, I would love to have been like a reverse picture, like maybe Russ's face, like, because it looks like his face is like up against her back, but he's probably like this way, going like, help me.
I hope he's not. I hope he's just right in the small of her back.
Like, all right, Russ, hold it. Good, and we're clear. All right. I'd be like,
open your eyes, Russ.
Yeah.
You're ruining the shot.
Were you smiling, Russ? Do it again. He wasn't smiling.
Yeah. And she's got other pictures posted of like just her that I saw on Instagram,
course.
and she looks great.
Yeah, more power
if
to her.
I ever become a mom and that's what I look like, I'm not going to be mad, but I'm not going to let my baby daddy sniff the small of my back while
You're not
while we get our
a
picture
small
taken.
of your back sniffer kind of fan,
No,
honestly? I
nope.
understand. So that was our awkward moment of the day, and people were saying it was the Waltons, by the way. The Waltons, the TV show. I couldn't remember. Let's see here. Jeff says we should also do a show in pantomime sometime without sound. Just let the whole thing just happen.
Let everyone pretend
Basically,
they
just
know what
be
we're
like,
saying.
Yeah, basically. That's basically already what I do, and Jamie just looks at me anyway. The whole show would me just be flowing my hands, and Jamie just being like, what's wrong with you? Okay, we're going to go to awesome or exciting?
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Awesome is a new thing that Nike is doing. You're going to have to remind me again how to pronounce it because my Muslim is not as good as it used to be. Or Arabic, maybe.
Yeah, mine's not great either. But Nike's coming out with a hijab, I believe.
I believe that's what it's called. Take a look at it. A pro hijab. We've seen a lot of Olympic athletes and just athletes as a whole. Of course, the Muslim culture that people have to abide by certain rules culturally, of course. So Nike is teamed up to try to come up with a more conducive and what's the right word for it? Just a more breathable solution.
Right,
basically.
something more fitting, less, more aerodynamic.
Yes, much more aerodynamic as well, too, that it's going to allow these ladies that are already incredible athletes to not have to worry about sometimes the fluffiness or the frilliness of a normal hijab. I mean, they're beautiful pieces of clothing that these ladies get to wear, but this is going to actually help them continue to even perform at a higher level because there won't be all these flyaways. It'll still do the exact same thing, but then they will also be able to not feel so sweaty, maybe, potentially. That was my first thought when I've seen some of like the cross-country runners or the marathon runners also wearing this. I'm like, you got to just be like an oven from the neck up, basically, by the time you get done. I'm like, this actually looks like it's got the moisture wicking technology or whatever that it
dry
is.
Fit.
Dry fit.
Thermal, yeah.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Liz says this is really beautiful. Go Nike. Totally agree with you on that one. Liz says also that picture was awkward at first glance. Absolutely. She also says, added to Jamie's list, must not enjoy awkward photos, must not sniff small of her back. Bruce has noted, so maybe we might have another suitor here. If you missed the show on Tuesday, go back and watch it. You can go to our website, brucesportsnet.com, or on the YouTube channel as well. It was fun. It was real fun. Watch the last, the whole show is great, but watch the last, 15 minutes of the show. That's really where it was like, oh, great show. Or maybe some people think it shot up. It really depends, honestly, who you talk to. All right, so then we've already done awkward, we've done awesome, so now it's time for exciting.
Yep.
To finish out our what's brewing segment. Dirk Nowitzki is a legend in the NBA world. He's going to be coming back for his 20th season next year, which is amazing. I mean, not many people can play 20 years and or do the same job for 20 years just because people get tired, people get injured, people move on.
We talked about this yesterday.
Happens all the time.
Yep.
How long is too long to play pro sports? Well, Dirk Nowitzki put his name in the record books last night by scoring his 30,000th NBA point. 30,000. Take a look.
One shot. He's about to get out. Down against Larry Nance Jr. Here it is! Put on a show to do it tonight. Needed 20. Did it by early in the second quarter.
Man still, and Mark Cuban's just losing his damn mind, too. Just like, that's my boy!
Everybody's so excited. He's like, yeah, whatever. I knew this day would come.
Well, he started off so hot, too. That's the thing. He was insane.
Did he hit exactly 30,000, or was it 30,001?
I think he hit his 30,000th point. And then after that, I think they just kind of let it do its thing afterwards, basically.
Okay.
He's probably at 30,000. I didn't check the official box score, so I don't know officially what he's sitting at now, but it's something around that.
Yeah,
basically.
I just didn't know if he hit too many threes in a row, so it bumped it over two
no,
numbers.
No, you missed it, Dirk. Do it again.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
Or he was at 29,999.
No, I think he was 20 points or something like that out when they came into the game. So, but he went perfect he went perfect from the field to start the game. You see him crossing guys over and just bang, dropping them left and right, and people
Nice.
So, more power to you, Dirk. He's now the 6th all-time scorer in the NBA. Huge thing for sure. So congratulations to you, Dirk Nowitzki, on that one. All right, that is our What's Brewing segment this morning. Some of the stories we're talking about and some of the craziness, of course, in the sports world. It's time to move on to one of our English soccer correspondents, Simon Mitchell. He joins us on the program now to talk about the Champions League. I wish we had the Champions League theme to be playing as you come on, Simon, but we wish you a good morning, good afternoon to you all the way in beautiful Norwich, England. How are we doing today, Simon?
Yeah, very good. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm not in Norwich.
You're not in Norwich?
Right now. I am not in Norwich. Right now, I am sat in Ipswich, which is Norwich's rivals in the football world.
Oh, okay. So you're a little bit outside there in Ipswich, basically. But either way, though, we welcome you onto the program, Simon. It is wonderful to hear from you. The Champions League is back in full swing after a hiatus, of course. But how are you feeling about Champions League finally being back now, so that the soccer world has more exciting things to follow?
Well, the Champions League for me has never really been all that, because being a Tottenham fan, it's always been about the Europa League. But you can never ignore the Champions League when it gets into the knockout stages, because they're arguably the 16 teams in the whole of Europe swing it out over 2 legs. For around a month, I believe it takes to get all of the legs in the last 16 completed. And we had the first 2 games of the last 16 all done and dusted last night.
Yeah, and I think it was quite interesting, honestly, to see some of the results that we did see last night. You're kind of breaking up a little bit on our end here, Simon, but you're still coming through. Just as an FYI, I don't know if you're in a bad spot or where it is, but we'll continue to try to work the conversation here with you as we keep moving along with the conversation. But give us your thoughts. I mean, Barcelona, the first round or the first leg, I thought just kind of was a little disappointing. But what have you thought about the 16 teams that have made it to the round of 16 at this point, and where can we expect them to? Who are the favorites now, basically, after some of the games we've seen so far?
Yeah. Sorry, is the sound any better?
You sound worlds better now.
Oh, that's great. I was playing you through the car speaker system because it gave me a chance to move my hands as I talked. I'm not sure why I needed to do that, but now I'm holding the phone against my ear.
We can't see you, Simon. We can't see how excited you are or not, basically. But you sound worlds better now. So anyway, continue now with what you were saying.
Awesome, yeah. Okay, so the teams that are through, I mean, after last night, I do have to ask all Arsenal fans out there, is it 10-2? Is that the time, 10-2? 10-2? 10-2 on aggregate? That's just hilarious. Isn't it, Baxter? Hilarious.
Yes, it is. As an Arsenal fan, yes, it's absolutely. I laughed myself to sleep and then progressively cried and drank until this morning's show, basically. No, I mean, what can you say about it, though? I mean, Arsene Wenger's name was being chanted before the game to be let go. I mean, Arsenal was leading. Let's not forget about that. Arsenal was leading in this game, but of course there was so much more that needed to go right for them, of course. But are we done with Arsene Wenger? Are we done with Arsenal? I mean, can we just move on? And I don't know. What do we say about something like this?
Well, let's just say it's a typical Arsenal season. Last 16 of the Champions League, progressing well in the FA Cup, may even win the FA Cup. And there's still a chance that they'll get top 4 and get Champions League football next year. So it's a typical Arsenal season. But when you were saying about who I think is going to win it, I mean, you can't shy away from the 2 teams that did go through last night. You've got Bayern Munich, who are looking imperious as always. And at the same time, you've got Real Madrid. And just one little small thing about Real Madrid is the final this year is being played in the Millennium Stadium in Wales. Now, who is from Wales that plays for Real Madrid? Gareth Bale. So you have got to think that if Real Madrid are against the ropes and Gareth Bale can drag that team up in any round, quarter-final, semi-final, to get that team to Cardiff, his hometown, to play the final, he will do that.
Oh, I completely agree with you on that one.
Home field advantage is something that people often rant and rave about. Do you have a favorite stadium or one that you think creates the best atmosphere?
Who creates the best atmosphere?
Yeah, especially in Champions League. I mean, especially with those two leg series. Sometimes people are like, "Well, we could lose on the road, but we know going back to our place, we're a lock usually." I mean, at least for me, some of the stadiums that come to mind for me are Dortmund, because they just create such a chaotic atmosphere inside that stadium with the yellow wall, basically, and the tifos that they throw up.
Well, they do. I mean, Dortmund is historical. I've never had the privilege of being there, but I have friends that have. We have a mutual friend, Brett, who was there just this last year, and he said that it was the most amazing atmosphere ever. I will say, though, that you can't shy away from Leicester City. I know they're struggling in the league. They've just replaced Claudio Ranieri, but the noise and the atmosphere that emanates from that stadium, it's a smaller stadium, it's closer to the pitch. Last year when they were in the Champions League race, they were causing earth tremors with the amount of jumping up and down they were doing. So you really can't shy away from Leicester. But also, the smaller European clubs that don't have the huge tourist following, such as Bayer Leverkusen, such as Porto, Benfica, those clubs will make a really strong and almost nerve-wracking atmosphere against the opposition. So you can't say that. But again, the big clubs, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, those stadiums again generate good atmosphere. But yeah, Leicester City, when that's on next week against Sevilla, in Sevilla, I think. Oh, sorry, it's actually in Leicester next week. My apologies. That'll be a great game, great atmosphere.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one for sure. Talk to me about Barcelona and PSG, because a lot of fans are saying that Barcelona as a whole, not even regardless of the result, is kind of just this done and dusted, moving on. Like we're seeing a changing of the guard in the world of football as Barcelona kind of is dropping from the ranks of this elite club.
I don't think Barcelona are dropping at all. The manager, Luis Enrique, has already said that he's finishing at the end of the season. That doesn't seem to be a normal thing with Barcelona when they have a successful manager. Guardiola did it, Van Gaal did it. They say, I'm going at the end of the season. I don't think that'll have a negative effect. Yes, they are 4-0 down from the first leg, but at the weekend, they won 5-0. The weekend before that, they won 6-1. They need to score 5 goals. Barcelona, of any team that's still left in the competition that is capable of scoring 4 or 5 goals at home and not conceding, they are the team to do it. So don't write them off just yet.
Correct. No, that makes total sense, honestly. The Champions League as a whole, I guess, is always very exciting for some. And for you, obviously, as you said, as being a Spurs fan, sometimes you're more used to the Europa League because that's just where Tottenham finishes in the Premier League, of course. So you know what you like. But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of things that people can still be really excited about as a whole. As we kind of move forward with the Champions League going forward, I'm always curious to get, especially someone like yourself that has followed soccer for so long, would you change anything about how the Champions League is run?
Oh, I wouldn't change a thing, no. I think it works perfectly now. The group stages are always relatively exciting. They do give the smaller clubs around Europe the opportunity to cause a shock or an upset. The bigger teams then progress. The downside is the money. There's so much money in the Champions League that the bigger clubs that get through to the last 16 in the quarterfinals get more money. They spend more money on the better players. They just consistently get better. So it might, in the future, prevent smaller clubs fallen giants such as Manchester United, perhaps, or even Atletico Madrid, who have got to the final. If they can't generate the revenues to bring in the big players, they may not be able to win the competition in the future. So that is the only thing. If I could change anything, it would probably be less money invested in the bigger clubs and invest more money into the grassroots and the smaller clubs around the whole of Europe.
And I would agree with you on that one as well, too. I mean, how many times do we hear that the football world is diluted because you only get to see the same, 8 to 10 clubs competing at the highest level every year? It's like we want to see the Leicesters, we want to see the Sevillas, the other clubs that don't get as much of an opportunity because, they don't have the billions of dollars worth of transfer budget every year that a Real Madrid or a Manchester United possibly do sometimes.
Yeah, of course. And when you think that Manchester United, who didn't even qualify for the Champions League, were able to bring in Ibrahimovic and Paul Pogba.
Still a big
with
thing.
The amount of money that's in the English game itself. I mean, the English game is probably the worst for money. It's ridiculous. Just to make you aware that we have our two sports channels in the UK. We have Sky Sports and we have BT Sports. And BT Sports have just spent £1.2 billion to secure the television rights for the Champions League for the next 3 seasons.
Wow.
So that's £400 million a year spent by BT Sport just to show Champions League football.
Holy cow.
So that's just the British-based broadcaster.
My gosh.
Do you have a favorite to win the Champions League?
Oh, my money is on Real Madrid.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly, based off of how they've been playing in league play and just in Champions League play as well, too. So that certainly makes a big difference, honestly. So, all right, Simon, we got to let you run, unfortunately. We got to move along with the program, but we appreciate you joining us. Where can people find you on social media to keep up with your soccer banter?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter @MitchTheCoach. Can I just ask a very, very quick question before I go?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Just something that I wanted to get your view on. It's away from soccer. It's more onto NFL.
Sure.
Obviously, Baxter, you know I'm a Chargers fan.
Yes.
And the Chargers have left San Diego. They're going to LA. It seems to have been recorded really positively in the UK. I see it as a huge negative. What's the general view in the US about that move?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie. From what I've been hearing, and my general thoughts is that the Chargers should have stayed in San Diego, because now San Diego is just absolutely void of any professional sports aside from the Padres, but nobody cares about Padres baseball. I think it's a terrible move. I don't think LA needs multiple teams. I think San Diego was doing very well for numerous decades and should have stayed there, honestly. The fact that they left, I think, is going to put a damper on the NFL, because now you have two underperforming teams in Los Angeles with the Rams and the Chargers, and people, I think, are going to continue to associate the LA area now for failure in all their professional sports teams, just because I feel like it was just it was a poor move. Obviously, it was a money move. That's the main reason. I'm sure a lot of it ended up happening, but San Diego, I thought, was doing nothing but good for the league in San Diego. So now that they moved to LA, I think that they almost were sellouts, basically, in that regard.
Yeah, I agree, and it's overpopulated now by all the, I mean, LA's big, but doesn't have the capacity.
It doesn't need two NFL teams. It doesn't need, I think, one or two baseball teams. It doesn't need soon to be two soccer teams.
Right.
You have a hockey team. You've got the Clippers. You've got the Lakers. It's just oversaturated with sports now, and I think that I think the Chargers of all teams are going to kind of get lost in the mix, and I don't think that they deserve that as such a historic franchise in the NFL.
No, that's great. I really appreciate that, because it was always one of my dreams was to see the Chargers play at the Qualcomm, but it's never going to happen now.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Simon.
that's heartbreaking.
I'm sorry. We appreciate that. Well, we hate to go on such a sad note, but we appreciate your time on the show today, Simon. And
that's awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. I'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. There goes Simon Mitchell, one of our English soccer correspondents here on Brews Sports. Some good questions here tossing out on Facebook as well, too. Yes, Robert, Leicester City is the team that won last year with the, I believe it was 500 to 1 odds, not 5,000. Greg says to talk about MLB spring training doesn't matter. I'm always torn about spring training, honestly, Greg, just because, yes, it matters to an extent, just like the preseason does in any single sport, because you got to know who you've got and the players and the talent level and all that fun business. But I don't think it should be as long as it is, personally. I don't know if you have an opinion about spring training, Jamie.
Not really.
No, it's kind of a thing. I mean, it has to be done. You can't just trot a team out opening day and say, let's see what happens.
Right.
So I get why they do it, but
I think it's
the oversaturation of how many games they play.
Right.
Though.
Yeah.
You play almost a full season before
in
you
a
actually
short amount of time
get to
too.
the season.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's a bit much, honestly, in my personal opinion. But I know baseball, they can do that, though. You can play 50 games in, a month and not feel like you did anything just because you don't do a lot. You stand around and make a play every couple of minutes, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah, and I think the whole, like baseball in general, like we've been talking about for the last week, it's kind of all about the experience, right?
Yes.
The tailgating and the whatever. A lot of people use spring training to go on vacation to Arizona where it's nice and watch baseball, the sport they love, and they do it with their families or whoever. So I think that that's still just part of the whole baseball culture.
Yes, and I would agree with you on that one, honestly. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't like the MLB, okay? I don't like the NHL, but I enjoy going to baseball and I enjoy going to hockey games.
Well, I don't care about soccer.
That's fine. I'm not mad about that. People can freak out as much as they want to. I love it when people almost preface becoming a friend with me, be like, so I don't like soccer, but can I still be your friend? Be like,
I don't care. Just don't come
fine.
over to watch soccer with me.
Yeah, I just want to invite you to my soccer parties or whatever. I want to ask you to be on my rec soccer team. It's totally fine. I'm not. Don't make it a bigger deal than it has to be.
I did get asked to play a summer soccer league this summer.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You got the height for it. You'd be good for the corner kicks to go up and head the ball in or play
Yeah,
defense.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I said yes.
Did you? How did it go?
This summer.
Oh, this summer.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we'll have to check back in a little
if you
bit.
need subs, hit me up. I'm happy to.
All right,
happy to play.
I will.
I'm still a free agent. My agent is Simon. You can talk to him, and he'll work out any details that need to be worked out. Basically. All right. So today's National Nasty Day.
It is.
Nasty. You know any nasty people in your life, Jamie?
Yeah.
Have you ever been wronged by nasty guys?
I don't have time for nasty guys. No, yeah. I mean, everyone comes across people in their everyday walk of life. I just choose to not keep those people around.
It's true. Well, one of the things that one of our listeners, Jeff, pointed out to us on Facebook, so shout out to Jeff for the idea. He messaged both of us yesterday and said, "How do you guys feel about nasty players in sports, or who do you think should be more nasty, kind of a thing, or how would it affect somebody if this player decided to become nasty after being such a good guy? You think of good guys in sports, you think of Aaron Rodgers, you think of your husband Jordy Nelson, you think of, there's a lot of guys. LeBron James is traditionally a very nice guy. Steph Curry, Mike Trout, others in general. You can go down the line of guys that are traditionally. Derek Jeter was a really nice guy. But how would they have been affected if they were nasty, kind of a thing?
Right. I think more people probably wouldn't talk about them in such a positive.
Yes.
It's kind of like when you go out to eat, right?
Yes.
And something bad happens, you tell 1,000 people. You have great service and great food, and you just tell a couple.
Yeah.
I feel like
Why
it's the
is
same
that?
thing. I don't know.
Like, if I get the best meal of my life, and I'm 100% guilty of this, there's
You're not
coffee
like,
shops,
man.
there's everything that I've gone to and done and experiences that I've had where I've been like, my God. Like,
Because people like to
most
talk
amazing
crap and
They do.
start, that's why like Yelp is there and people are like, I had your pecan pie and the pecans were not
Actually
pecan-y.
almonds.
Yeah, like,
You weren't pecan-y enough. What
Yeah.
makes a pecan?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But people aren't like, hey, I went there. Sally was my server. She did a great job. Our drinks were always full. The food was fantastic. Came out hot. Like, no one ever does that. So these guys, even though they're great on the field, don't get the recognition they deserve for all the great charities they run or
You're right.
anything they do. Like my future husband
What up?
has the softball game, and he, is super involved in jockeying, their whole adoption thing.
Process.
Yeah.
Thing.
He's been a part of the tailgate tour. Like, he's just an all-around good guy.
Sure.
Married his high school sweetheart. They have kids. Like,
Stop.
so cute.
Do they have any awkward baby photos?
I don't know. I haven't found them. And if I do, I'll just pretend I never saw him.
Exactly. So you wouldn't tell people about that because that would be nasty.
Right.
Strange.
Nothing to
So you're
bring
contradicting
down.
yourself. So like when
Why?
you because you were just like, when something good happens, I usually don't tell a lot of people about it.
Yeah,
when
but if-
something bad happens, I'm
Oh.
like, everybody find out.
Yeah, but I
like,
love
here.
him.
Oh, well, that makes more sense then. I get that.
Okay.
Okay. Greg says, cue nasty boy music. Robert says, pecan trees. Is it a pecan or is it a pecan?
Pecan.
Pecan? I think so.
I think that sounds fancier.
Pecan. I'm having a pecan.
I'm having a pecan. Like, that sounds
It
super,
does.
like, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Pecan.
100%. Like, I'm having some pecan pie.
Yeah.
Like, you're having some.
Hey,
What?
Judy, come over and have some pecan pie.
Judy is such a Wisconsin name, isn't it? Like, Judy! And Karen. That's another one, I feel like. No offense to anybody that I know, Judy named or Karen, because I know several wonderful ladies, so I love you all. But I'm just saying, like, there's certain names, though, that are just like, interesting.
Carol.
That's a good one right there. Good old Carol. All right. But yeah, I mean, tomato as well, too, Robert says. Totally understand.
Potato,
that, of
potato.
course. Potato, potato. As you are continuing to watch this, by the way, guys, please, continue to comment and share this with your friends as well, too. Let them know about Brew Sports. Otherwise, Jamie and I are just going to continue to sit here and talk to ourselves all day, which we don't mind doing. We love talking, and we love sports, and we love the world as a whole. But please continue to keep sharing. I mean, we've already had some great comments this morning as well from thanks to Greg and Robert, Liz, Jeff was on earlier as well, too. So keep those comments coming as well, too, guys. We appreciate all of you. So, yeah, going back to the nasty conversation, though, I think that you have to have your good guys. You have to have your bad guys. If everybody was nasty, you asked a good question. If Michael Jordan still had all the success that he had, 6 championships, all that insane, crazy, great things, but was just a nasty guy, like was as you are attracted to douchebags. If he was a douchebag, how would people view him? Be like, oh my gosh, like does your lens of Michael Jordan get skewed, or of Tom Brady, or of whoever get skewed because of their personality?
I mean, you can think about, just because he's hot in the news right now, like everyone's talking about Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
He did the one thing, and everyone is still, years later, freaking out about it. Because,
Yes, exactly.
So
Traditionally, though, not to my knowledge, not a bad guy.
right.
Not to my knowledge. I could be totally wrong. Like I said, I feel like I followed Adrian Peterson close enough over the last even decade as a whole, and I don't think that he's a bad guy.
Right.
to
And
my
people
knowledge.
make mistakes, but people, normal people like us, are so quick to judge and don't see, and I'm not condoning what he did at all.
Yes, Robert.
Let's
makes
just clarify that.
It's true. Robert makes a good point as well too. Ron Artest, a massive nasty guy, in the NBA. Everybody remembers the fight where a fan threw a beer on him from the stands. He ran into the stands, was throwing chairs, punching fans, like nasty. That's a nasty guy. Some people could make the argument about Richard Sherman, but he's such a nice. It's so hard because you look at athletes, you look at people as a whole, and I'd like to think that I'm a pretty through and through kind of person. Like, you see me, I am who I am on the air as I am off the air as I am everywhere else, kind of a thing. I'd like to think, and I could be totally wrong, and you know me on and off the air as a whole too, as a person. I'd like to think.
I think you're.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're pretty.
I feel like I'm pretty, like, what you see here is what you get otherwise.
Yeah.
But how many times do you see the hard nose on the field? Like, I mean, guys like J.J. Watt, just like, yelling, swearing, like, kicking ass, and taking names, but then off the field, big teddy bear, super nice guy, all of that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. We've got a couple of things on Facebook as well, too, here. Robert says Lawrence Sprewell is another big one as well, too, a nasty guy. Dan Olson says, as a motorsports decline, people like crashes and the nasty mess is what people like. I would agree. NASCAR and IndyCar, people live for the crashes. They live for the chaos of that, basically. Craig says, what about Draymond Green or Drymond Green? No offense. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Craig. I'm sure you're a wonderful person. There's an A in there. But he is kind of dry at the same time as well, too. Some guys just don't want to get involved with it. But Draymond has been accused of, accidentally stepping on the goods, basically, of a player last year. Or kicking. I think it was kicking, not stepping on. But, sports, you need the two sides. Just like nobody wants an action film where the hero always wins. You got to have the villain in there as well too. You got to have the nasty character. If Darth Vader doesn't exist, Star Wars isn't successful. Come on, you need the dark side. You need the good side. The hero has to rise up.
I mean, you see it, and to Dan's comment too. People like that's why we watch videos of people falling down on YouTube or whatever. That's why people love hockey is because of the fights and the crashes in NASCAR and yeah.
And I mean, hockey especially too is. And Jeff, I see your comment. I'll get to you in just 1 second. You talk about hockey as well too. How that sport is notorious for fighting.
Yeah, and
but most of those guys though aren't bad though. You work in hockey,
right? And it's crazy to see some of the aggressors are some of the guys that are the most involved in the community or the most.
Yes.
They win like the good guy award every year or whatever. And people are in an uproar about the fact that they're trying to take fighting away from hockey.
Yes.
But it's different from other sports. Like, they kind of ref themselves. The refs are there to, like, call offsides and high sticking and whatever else, where these guys, someone does a bad hit on their teammate, like, they're going to go after them. The refs aren't going to do anything about it, except for maybe call, a boarding or whatever.
Well, and the refs know, too, that they're, like, insanely smaller than a lot of these guys, especially in hockey. Be like, guys, that's why I always laugh,
stop.
like, in the NFL when, like, the big linemen start going at each other and the, like, 5'8" ref in there is like, come on, stop.
Excuse me.
And they're just like, get out of here. Like, go away. Aaron, with his wonderful feelings, says that he likes sad movies. That's why he liked the way Rogue One ended as well, too. Because if you haven't known, spoiler alerts, everybody dies at the end of Rogue One. So the bad guys win. That's like one of the very rare occasions the bad guys win. That's how it was supposed to go, I guess.
That's Star Wars.
Star Wars, yes.
Mm.
Not a Star Wars fan?
Mm-mm.
We'll talk after the show. We'll be accepting applications for a new Morning Brew host. No, honestly, I'm not that kind of a person. Star Wars, I feel like, is such a divide of the sports world. So many people are just like, either you love Star Wars or you hate Star Wars, or I'm a Star Trek fan. Like, yeah, just because you can do the thing with your hand, I can do this with my hand. That doesn't make me a Trekkie, okay? Like, anybody can do this with their hand. Can you do this with your hand?
I can't. I can do it with both my hands. What is your thumb supposed to do? In?
I don't know. That's why I'm not Spock. John Stockton with the with the Utah Jazz back in the day. Dan says, no one talks about the good guys enough. Who do you remember the most? Usually you remember the villains.
Right.
People love the villains. I mean, I feel like I could almost name more villains in sports or more villains in even the comic book world than I could the heroes sometimes. I mean, it just all depends on how they're marketed, of course, as well, too. So everybody's kind of all over the place with that one. Greg makes good Wisconsin comparisons. He says, what about Ryan Braun, Mike Daniels, guys that sometimes come off as nasty as their perception, their perception of them, basically. I think Ryan Braun does kind of come off a little douchey, honestly.
Yeah.
He also kind of looks like he's slightly high half the time as well, too. He just kind of has that, like, hey, how you doing kind of thing. Like, are you actually that good, Ryan? Like, do you actually know what you're doing? you just stand out there and whatever you play. I don't know how the baseball field works. Is that right field, left field?
Right.
Right field. I don't know. Why is it right field? Is it right field from the home plate, I guess? So, yeah, he stands out there in right field, basically. This is why I don't like baseball. It's confusing. I feel like Stockton is an all-time good guy. I'm sorry. Yes, you're correct about that. One of the very best. Steve Nash as well would be another good guy. I feel like that you'd want to get tossed under that
Your
list.
favorite hockey player?
My favorite hockey player.
PK Subban.
PK.
Great guy.
Subban. I love Subban. I need to go back to Jeff's comment really fast as well, too. He asked, where do you think LeBron will fall on the all-time NBA scoring list? LeBron James is 8th right now on the all-time scoring list. Dirk has 30,005 points, by the way.
Okay.
Just wanted to give you that clarification.
Thank you.
LeBron James has 28,316. He is a little under 200 points. He's a little under 200 points from passing Shaq. So he's going to pass you pretty soon, so be careful.
Look out, LeBron.
For
you.
7th. Shaq's not even playing anymore. You can't even be like, I'm coming for you when you're not even playing.
I'll just run out there and steal the ball.
Start blocking him. Start packing him. Be like, sit down, LeBron.
I don't know
You got nothing.
well I would do, but yeah, I'd give it a try.
That'd be fun.
He would just demolish me.
Probably. But yeah, looking at what LeBron has, 28,316 total points. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 38,387. He's number 1 on the all-time list. Dirk has got at least another year left in him, so I think Dirk is going to jump up at least to 5th or 4th, maybe all time.
Kobe's on there too, right? Did you say
Kobe's
that?
on here at number 3. Karl Malone's number 2. I would honestly say LeBron's going to be a top 5, Jeff, by the time it's all said and done. As the classic thing, as long as he stays healthy. I mean, it's true, though. As long as LeBron stays healthy, which he notoriously stays healthy. He's just one of those guys that just doesn't get hurt very often, so I could see him
because he's massive.
Jumping up.
It'd be hard to just hurt him.
Yes.
Drinks a lot of milk.
Heather's giving you some love today, Jamie. She
saw.
says, Heather's looking good today in that curled hair. Hey, girl. That's what I said, too, when she walked in. I was like, oh, hey, girl. Like, I see you looking good. Okay.
So I got to work after this.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Honestly.
Aaron. No.
Oh boy, who wants to marry Jamie? This is like we said. If we talked about this on Tuesday, anyway. I feel like we should move into our Wasted Wednesday segment.
Yes.
You ready to give? I feel like after, depending on how this conversation moves now going forward, we may need to go. You may need to feel like getting wasted after this.
I might.
Couple of shoddy things going on here in the sports world. You don't like Conor McGregor.
I do not.
Why not?
I think that he's a great athlete, but I think he's overhyped. I don't like.
Can you be? I'm going to go on. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt
you
really
ahead.
fast. Can you go on the record to say that UFC fighters are not athletes? Because all they do is they work out and they hit people. Does that make you an athlete?
They're athletes.
Are they?
Yes.
What do they do?
I could not get in the ring with Misha Tate as she would kick my butt.
It's basically street fighting.
But
Anybody can walk over there and start hitting people.
No, they train really hard.
I know they do, but what's the difference between Joe upstairs in the gym working out to Conor McGregor working out?
Can Joe fight Conor McGregor?
We don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. Brew's pushing for your drama series, by the way. Bieber, new live series, apparently. I feel like we need to do that. Brew, Jamie here live in the Brew City. We'll have to come out. We need names now for Jamie's Bachelorette series, because obviously the Bachelorette is TM'd. We can't take that, of course. But if for Jamie's dating mini-series here, comment below.
Oh, God.
Anyway, we'll come back to that. But anyway, I didn't want to completely derail you, but
no, you're good.
Continue, though.
I think they're athletes. I also think didn't you say the other day that dancers were athletes but cheerleaders weren't? That's not fair.
Why not?
Because
dancers do more.
What do you mean they do more?
I think they do more.
No, why? Because they can jump and do the splits. Have you seen a cheerleader? They tumble, they throw people, and this is not just because I cheered in high school. They jump, tumble, they throw people. Guys lift girls by themselves. Like dancers, you just have to be in sync and shimmy. I know there's more to it. I danced for a minute too, but
we're about to just get berated with dancers. Be like, I don't do more than just shimmy.
But like, why would one qualify and not? Why would one qualify and why not? You said a badminton player was an athlete, and now you're questioning if a UFC fighter is.
If it's an Olympic sport, I feel like it is classified as an athlete.
Okay, there's boxing and there's wrestling in the Olympics.
Yeah,
it's basically the same thing.
Is it?
Yes, it's just all combined into one.
Aaron says cheerleaders are dancers too. I guess so, but I mean, I'm talking about this, and I feel like dancers though. Alone in the Brew City, not for long. True, Brew. I like that. I like the Alone in the Brew City. That's like a good opening scene, Alone in the Brew City. And
But
it's
not for
Jamie
the-
walking down a street, looking over her shoulder, and then 20 guys are running down the street, Jamie! Anyway, you're welcome for that, by the way. I get 40% of that cut. Anyway, so I don't know. I can't justify properly saying whether or not my wife was a dancer. I ballroom danced for 6 or 7 years. Maybe it's because I've never cheerleaded. Maybe that's what it is. And I have friends that are cheerleaders that I'm sure are going to
We'll
write
take
me
you to a
nasty
cheer
letters.
practice. We'll take you to a cheer practice.
But like you said, though, I feel like there's so much more risk involved or there's so much more skill involved with dancing than there is of. You almost have a crutch as a cheerleader because you've got people holding you and helping you and counting. Dancers don't get to count out loud. You don't get to go
but there's
5,
two
6,
separate.
7, 8. You get to say your actions as you're doing them.
Okay,
as a
you
cheerleader.
really don't. Have you ever looked up an actual cheer competition? I'm not just talking about girls in the sideline that are go Big Red. That's not what I'm talking about. And Dan, that's because they're from UW Green Bay. They don't really count.
It's really yes.
And the actual cheerleaders for the Redskins or
The
Cowboys,
cheerleaders.
They're great dancers. I'm not going to say that they're not, but it's not
It's all
okay,
about the boobs.
if I'm good and I can do the splits and you can't, you look like an idiot, I don't. If we're a unit on a cheer squad together and you can't perform, it affects the whole pod.
True. That I guess so. I mean,
We're going to cheer practice, Baxter.
Okay. # bring on the cheer practice, and we'll.
He'll be on my TV show.
We're gonna go to cheerleading practice. I will be a suitor on your show, even though I'm happily married, just to be kicked off the first group date, basically, just so we can go to cheerleading practice.
I won't even give you a hug. I'll be like, ooh, next.
Yeah, exactly. Just swipe left on me. Be like, sorry, right? Swipe left. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not a Tinder. So, back when I was dating, we didn't have Tinder, kids. Jamie's older than me. Anyway, she has to look her up. She's apparently on Twinder. On Twinder, yes, that's the new thing. I don't even know what Twinder would be. Yes, Aaron. Someone's going to write me a nasty letter. Greg says UFC and WWE are both fake and should never be mentioned in real sports conversations. There, he said it.
Well, Greg, I think you're wrong.
Greg is being nasty on national.
Yeah, I think WWE clearly we can all.
WWE belongs in Vegas. If there's a sport that belongs in Vegas,
Right.
it's WWE because it's all scripted, it's all fraud, it's all fake. I didn't know that until a year or two ago, by the way. And people were like, "Did you know?" I don't watch it, so I was like, "Well, why do I?"
Okay,
care?
I don't watch it either, but I know that someone can't hit someone in the head with a chair and then do
Or
a.
can they? Those
No.
guys are pretty strong.
No,
Ric
it's
Flair?
your head.
Woo! Come on, that happens.
No.
Sure.
No.
I don't know. I think it can. I don't. Aaron says, I thought Tinder was a way to start fire. He's like, Jonathan says, oh, he can start a fire. Yeah, it can, Brew. Anyway, things are going to be, the embers are starting to pick up here, basically. All right, so moving away. Did we ever get to what we were talking about?
No, we
Conor
didn't.
McGregor? Okay, talk about Conor McGregor again here briefly because I know I derailed you, which I do so well on the show, I feel like.
It's fine. I just won't go on my rant.
No, rant.
I
Rant it up.
just don't like him. I think he's overhyped. I think Dana White likes him way too much, and he puts him on this pedestal instead of all the other fighters, and I don't like it. And I get it. It brings people in. People are watching. People who didn't watch UFC but heard about Conor McGregor are now watching it. People flew all the way from Ireland to come here and watch him, and he's a good fighter. I will give him that. But I do not think he shows to press conferences late and throws water bottles at people. I don't know. Just get over yourself. That's how I feel about him. But now he's trying to fight Floyd Mayweather, and it's causing a lot of attention.
Floyd has basically just been like, look, man, I'll fight you. Just do it.
Yeah, McGregor's
stop.
I want X amount of money because I'm a baby.
Is that the word you were going to go with?
No.
I didn't think so. I'm a baby. It's nope, can't say that one, can't say that one. Okay, I'll say baby. There we go. That's what I meant. Caleb agrees with you. He says McGregor is overhyped, but it will make people watch. Well, yeah,
See?
of course. People are going to watch. Conor McGregor. I mean, people watched Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao. They hugged each other and then ended up walking away with $100 million each or whatever the stupid purse was at that point. It's so dumb.
Yeah, but
I don't like Floyd Mayweather.
no,
No, I think he's one of those guys. He's a villain. He's nasty.
he's a nasty.
I don't know enough about Conor's outside the ring. I think he still lives pretty wild and free and nasty, honestly, as well too. So I think he would.
McGregor?
Yeah, I think he would.
He just had a baby, didn't he?
I don't know. Did he?
I believe so.
Conor McGregor baby. I don't
Looking
know.
it up.
Maybe check it out. Yeah, I mean, the fight, will it happen? I'm sure it will. Will they each make more money than I'll ever make in my life? Yes. Just in one fight? I mean, yes, of course. It makes total sense. But People want to see the spectacles. People want to see the shows. So, of course, it's going to happen. The sports world runs off of the stories. It runs off of money, of course. Money talks. McGregor, Mayweather. It will happen despite all of our best hopes that it doesn't.
Due in May, in case anyone was actually wondering.
Is he actually married? Is he legally betrothed to this lady?
I think that they
or how do they do it in Ireland? They kiss the Blarney Stone and they got
dating.
pregnant?
I do not think that they are married.
I've kissed the Blarney Stone.
Girlfriend Devlin.
He's got enough money. Put a ring on that finger.
Yeah, and a nice ring, too. She deserves it.
Is she a nice lady?
I don't know. She looks nice.
That's good. Good for her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's adorable.
Yeah.
Caleb says he thinks Floyd would win the fight.
Well, yeah, you look at Holly Holm and Ronda. Like, they are two completely different fighters. You don't get Floyd on the ground. Like, McGregor's not going to win.
Well, it's a boxing match. They're not. If it was UFC, it's different.
Right. McGregor isn't a boxer.
Exactly. Yeah. People are also saying, myself included, well, he's more athletic. He's younger. He should be quicker, faster.
Right, and he's not. He gets a blow to the face.
True.
With a fist.
Yes.
Like.
I don't know why you had to clarify that with a fist, but you did.
I mean, I guess they could kick him.
Why would you? You can't kick in boxing. This isn't kickboxing.
Yeah.
This isn't MMA.
This is
UFC.
Yeah. I just think McGregor's going to lose, and I hope he loses because he talks a big game, and I just like when douchebags. Not the right kind of douchebag for me, by the way.
How do you classify
I don't know.
douchebag?
I don't know. It's just like it's up here.
What makes my douchebagness different than that douchebag from that douchebag?
I feel like there's different types of douchebags.
A lot of bags floating around,
yeah.
Jamie. How do you know which one
I don't know.
pick up?
I don't know. I'll have to like write it down, maybe make a spreadsheet.
We've had people commenting in the past saying like you don't want that list. Like we need the list. How are we supposed to make a mini-series off of this or try to find you an available suitor? We had Brew today pitching his campaign briefly to be, you could, I think that would be cute. Jamie and Brew, that's cute.
So cute.
Adorable. You're not having it. Okay. Anyway, what else do we have to talk about today? Wasted Wednesday, we just finished. Oh, there was Lorenzo Ball's dad, I think is perpetually wasted because he thinks that his son, Lonzo, right? They all are like a letter off.
Yep.
Like they took the name Lorenzo and I think just named it a couple different ways. They've got like LaMelo, Lorenzo, Lonzo, like everybody ends in Zo, basically.
People usually do that for twins or triplets, not
These
kids.
guys are like 4 or 5 years apart as brothers. But all right, so Lorenzo Ball's dad, Lonzo, if I'm on the correct track, sounds like a guy from like Sesame Street, like. Anyway,
his dad's LeVar, I think.
LeVar. I'm sorry, LeVar. Forgive me. Anyway, the Ball family. LeVar thinks that his son Lorenzo.
Yep.
I feel like
too many L's.
Too many L's. I feel like Dory from Finding Nemo, where she's trying to like explain like his son Bingo Nemo got lunch to Sydney. Oh, Sydney, right? Like I feel like that sequence for those that understand what I'm talking about. Hashtag Finding Dory and hashtag Finding Nemo. All fish matter. All right. Lorenzo Ball's dad, Lonzo.
Lorenzo's dad, LeVar,
you explain it,
thinks he is
too many L's.
better than Steph Curry. He said a quote that says, "Let me tell you this right now. I have the utmost confidence in what my boy's doing. I will tell you right now, he is better than Steph Curry to me. Here, put Steph Curry on UCLA's team right now and put my boy on Golden State and watch what happens." He wants them to play one-on-one. He thinks all of his kids are going to be in the All-Star game someday together. And I get it. Proud dad. He's probably put a lot of work into this, but come on. No?
No.
He's a proud dad.
I understand that. I'm a proud father of my 4-month-old, but do I think he could match up against Mason Crosby as the best kicker in the NFL?
No, because your kid can't even scoot yet.
Scoot. He can kick really well, though. Like, have realistic expectations. Honestly, Steph Curry's a 2-time MVP winner. He's a NBA champion. He is a shooting champion. He is basically the only reason Golden State is relevant. How many people were talking about UCLA before LeVar started hyping his son?
Oh.
Before LeVar started hyping. Tanner says he's the over-enthusiastic dad of the Little League game. Yes, exactly. This is like U7 baseball, and you've got that one dad that missed his shot at the majors because he tore his rotator cuff, and now he's hyped up his kid who can throw the ball, 80 miles an hour at a U7 baseball game. Like, hey, he's the next Randy Johnson. No one gives a damn. I'm sure his kids are going to be great.
Right, and they are great. They're good already. And he's a proud dad, so...
Of course, hashtag proud fathers. I have nothing wrong with being a proud father, but when you overstep and you try to run your kid's life, that is where the issue comes in my book.
And he's probably a little embarrassed. Like, I'd be like, Dad...
Exactly. Be like, Dad, because as soon as UCLA loses in the March Madness tournament, they're not going to talk to Lorenzo. Or they're going to go talk to LeVar. Be like, wow, how do you think your son did? Be like, my son played great, but the team just didn't rally. Like, he's never going to blame his son.
Right.
Never. I hate kids that are infallible as well, too, in parents' eyes. I feel like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have to hold your kids
This is what is wrong with millennials, because parents...
Stupid millennials. If I had a dime for every millennial I knew.
Because their parents just think they're the past.
It's true. And I think that is the problem, honestly, though. And I mean, that could be a whole other segment in itself, though. What the hell is wrong with millennials? It starts with parenting.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go on a parenting tangent, but, like, there's kids that I've known that I've grown up with, or even people that I've gone to school with, where you see how their parents raised them, or their parents come to even college games. Like, I played D3 sports, and some of the parents that would still show up are still coaching
like
from the sideline, still hooping and hollering. I'm like... The worst is even at high school. Like, I do broadcasts for high school sports, and there's fans just shouting out, like, all kinds of crazy stuff from the stands. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. They're in high school.
Get your butt on the sidelines if you think you're a better coach than the guy that's won 12 state titles as the head coach of this program. Like, shut your mouth. I get it. Be passionate. My mom was that mom that ran up and down the sidelines when I played soccer. Like, she literally would run the sidelines as I'm playing the game, like, following me. She might as well have put a ref uniform on and been following the game and calling calls, but... She didn't she wasn't like yelling at the ref. She just was very encouraging of me.
Yeah.
So like anytime I get the ball, she's like, "Go Bax, go!" Like she'd make little signs, like she's running up and down. 100%.
Oh, that's adorable.
Only like until like college. No, it wasn't that bad. No, only until like middle school was she doing that. But
she made homemade signs.
She and my grandma made homemade signs like "Go Bax, go!" like "Baxman," like "Speedy Bax," like whatever. Like they had these little signs that they would all like bring to like. I was the only kid too that would get signs. So like,
that's adorable.
I always felt bad because I'm like, none of the other parents brought signs to their kids. Like I felt bad.
Like
I felt bad accepting it sometimes, being like, "Thank you, like this is great."
My number one fans.
Yeah, exactly. Like. I mean, and you want that to an extent, but when it's your parents, though, that it's just like, oh, go, like, go Baxter. It's like, there's 8 other people on the field, Mom or Dad. Like,
your mom just has, like, all the signs, like, bundled up. Go Karen. Go Seth.
Yes.
Baxter.
I don't know. Jeff says, just because they aren't many Baxters or Jamies, what's wrong with normal names? I'm not sure if I understand the context of that, Jeff.
Because we were talking about names, or like Karen. And
yeah, I understand
yeah,
that.
So he's saying...
Jeff's bringing it way back to the earlier part of the show there, I guess. Are you saying, like, what's wrong with names like Baxter and Jaymee? Is that why we're making fun of other names? I mean, Jamie's a common name. It's just your spelling is different. Yeah. That's all it is.
My Uber driver asked me if my name was Jaymee the other day.
Oh, Jaymee.
Like,
maybe you could be French. Oh,
just
Jaymee.
Jamie.
I am Baxter, and this is Jaymee. Welcome to the morning brew. We have a little espresso. No, I would not take espresso. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it comes down to parenting.
Yeah, really I agree. And I get super upset just
LeVar needs to bring it back.
Yeah, on this tangent. When people are like, my parents too, sometimes they'll be like, millennials, blah, blah, blah. And I'm
I
like,
agree. And I'm like, making millennial jokes.
Yeah, because it's funny and it's true. And I'm like, but Dad, like, or, we're different because you didn't raise us like that. Like, okay, my friend Karen sucks because she doesn't have manners or whatever it is, but her parents babied her. And I'm thankful that my parents didn't. So, Dad, if you're listening to this morning,
same for me as
thank you.
Too. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
I might have not liked it when I was 16.
100%.
But at 25, I appreciate it.
I'd like to think that I was raised fairly well too. I mean, I wasn't babied. Thankfully, you and I are old enough that we didn't have as much of the technology, the social media, or even the cell phones. Like, I didn't get my first cell phone until I was halfway through high school.
Okay, yeah, I think I was like 15 or 16.
Yeah, somewhere like that as well too. I mean, and I knew kids that I was at high school with that were getting the iPhone when they were coming out, and they're texting in the middle of class. And for me, I'm like, what's a cell phone? Like, I didn't know. Like, I mean, I also was homeschooled for 9 years before I went to actual high school as well too. So that obviously, I do attribute the general personality of who I am and my persona to being homeschooled, because I got more firsthand experience on a daily basis saying, you open the door for a lady when you see her, you respect your elders, you respect women. Like, I was continuously taught that. So by the time I was actually thrown into the real world, into high school and college, I felt like I had a good, strong base.
Everyone's
going
probably
in.
like, what's this guy doing?
I got made fun of because they're like, why are you holding the door open for that girl? I'm like, because it's what you do. Like,
Yeah.
nah, man, like, just get to class. I'm like, why? I'll be a
Baxter, why were you late? I was
I'll be-
holding the door for
Yeah.
Sally.
I was that kid, and you're going to laugh at me. I was this kid in high school that I would bring cookies or muffins, and I would give them to people at school. Because I love to bake.
Hold on. You didn't buy Little Debbie's. You
No,
would go
I
home
physically-
after school.
My pumpkin cheesecake muffins kicked ass. I would have people requesting
Stop.
my muffin.
Did you
100%.
sell them?
No, I gave them away. 100% gave them away. I would make my
least you knew I'd
chocolate chip
laugh.
cookies would be so good as well too that people would be putting. I would let people know ahead of a day or two in advance. Be like, guys, I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies on Wednesday. Let me know now if you want one. And people would legitimately get pissed at me because they'd be like, you said you promised me a cookie, and I would maybe give it away to somebody else or whatever because that person took forever to find me during the day. Like, it happens. Like, people were genuinely getting mad at me, not because of how I have my personality or whatever. Like, you gave my cookie away. Like, I want my cookie. I'm like, you should have found me earlier.
Should have
in the
made
day.
more cookies, Baxter.
But I'm telling you though, my pumpkin cheesecake muffins in the little pumpkin
funny.
molds, they look like pumpkins as well too. They were amazing. I'll have to make them. and
You'll
bring
have
them
to.
in.
You'll make that. I'll make tacos.
Baxter the Baker, Caleb says. Fun fact, Google Baxter. The name. It means baker. Fun fact. Jamie's going to look it up right now. I promise you 100%. It was not in purpose when my parents named me that. They're like, oh, this is Baxter. I was named after my parents' favorite restaurant in college.
Oh, that's right.
So I wasn't named after the English name Baker. But
Meaning Baker from the early Middle English.
I was born to be a baker. Some people say, I was born to be on the stage. I was born to be in sports. Well, I was born to be a baker, apparently, and somehow found my way into broadcasting. Looks like live. Yes, Bruce has a live Baxter baking series. I would totally do the Food Network thing where I'm in the kitchen and I'm baking, being like, all right. So then you put 2 tablespoons of vinegar in, you throw some sugar in, just a pinch of this, 100%. I love food. I love it. I would totally be all for that. If sports doesn't work out for me, I'm going to hit up the Food Network or try to produce my own show with Brew, and do this. And be like, all right. I feel like everybody wins.
Don't Urban Dictionary your name.
No?
No. Don't do it.
Because it's not appropriate for
So
audio.
inappropriate.
Okay, we won't talk about that then. Okay, Jamie. Well, we have one other final thing to talk about because I know you got to zip out of here as well too. Because you actually got. I want you to tell about what you're going to do after this because it's actually really cool.
Yeah. So each year the Admirals, who I work for, the Milwaukee Admirals,
Shout
they
out.
host a children's school day game. So we get workbooks done from grades K through 2, 3 through 5, and 6 through 8.
Nice.
$6 a ticket. This year we have about 6,500 students coming, so we make an
Holy
educational
cow.
game. The workbooks include math, history, science, geography. Geography.
Geography.
So we do a high school presentation beforehand where they learn, a little bit about, they do something with money savings in college and a little bit of,
Not being such a stupid millennial.
yeah, and how to eat right, and they get to learn about the normal day of an athlete. So, the doors open at 8:30, I think, and they come in at between 9 and the game starts at. I lied. No, doors do not open at 8:30 because the game's at 10:30.
So the game's at 10:30.
Yeah, so 9:30 is usually when they'll start rolling
in.
in. But yeah, I'm excited. It's one of there's a lot of kids. We actually, last year we did it, and there were 6 fights during the school day game. So we had a bunch of teachers writing in saying, could you ask them to not fight? And we're like, no,
It's part of
sorry. Yeah, so it's been a great turnout the last couple times we've done it. So yeah.
Well, I heard on the radio this morning too that one of the local hosts was saying sometimes the kids are almost the ones that are instigating the fights.
Yeah.
They're the ones pounding on the glass kill each other.
Yeah,
Like,
screaming
"Wah!"
and yeah, it's a fun day.
It is. It sounds like a good time. Well, I'm excited for you, and I know you got to jet out of here. So we were going to talk about Adrian Peterson going to the Patriots, but we kind of just run out of time, unfortunately, with the new live cooking series for myself and the new live dating series for you as well, too. We still need names for these. So comment below and also hit us up on the Twitterverse as well, too, at Baxter Colburn, at Jamie_Evers. That's with 3 E's somewhere in there. I'll let you figure out where the 3 E's go. 4 E's, technically, I guess. When you really break it all down. Anyway, do that at BrewSportsNet on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to go subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, too, to catch all the videos on demand on our website, BrewSportsNet.com. As well. Coming up next, it will be 2 Up Front here on the Brew Sports Network as we dive into the soccer world from 10 to 11 a.m. Central Time live right here on Brew Sports. Jamie Evers, final words from you?
Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. Thank you to Greg and Brew and Jeff and... There's a lot of comments. The other Jeff, Jonathan, we were all over the place today, guys. Thank you so much for making the Morning Brew, honestly, the best part of my day. I always get super excited to do this show. So we will be back here bigger and better than ever tomorrow. Thursday morning, Thirsty Thursday. We've got all kinds of stuff. Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday. Thirsty Thursday is on halftime. So check that show out later on. All right, she's Jamie. I'm Baxter. Thanks so much for watching. This has been The Morning Brew. We'll see you guys back here at 10 o'clock for 2 Up Front, live on Brew Sports.